Good morning, my dear friends. This is P. Krishnamurthy, lecturer in English, working at Government Degree College for Women, WANAPARTHY. So, good morning and welcome to this video class. We have been talking on various components of English grammar, both objective type of grammar and compositional grammar and communicative grammar and grammar that will emphasize human values like value orientation. In the previous videos, we had an opportunity of studying human values with the proverbs and quotations. Today we are switching over to some other area which is very important for the students who are studying UG course, students who are pursuing higher education. This is going to be very important. This has become so remarkable place in studying books. That's why it is a part and parcel of study skills. It's one of the study skills. I could say that this is the most important skill of the study. Why I just say this one, So whether you may be UG, whether you may be PG, whether you may be unemployed, whether you may be employee, you would need to know how you can comprehend. How do you understand? What is your way of understanding any particular topic? When you read newspaper, you happen to see a lot of things in the newspaper. Maybe some of them are related to business, some of them related to education, some of them related to employment, some of them related to politics, some of them related to social issues. When you read all those items, how do you understand and how do you classify which is important, which is not important? Unless until you have that kind of bent of mind, unless until you possess that study skill, it's very difficult to understand and comprehend the matter that is given in the newspaper or a magazine or any book also. When you go to library, when you take a book to read that one, so you may read maybe 10 pages. After reading 10 pages, what do you understand and what do you comprehend about that one? So can you give certain important points what you have read from that book? And some of the people, they are they're so happy to give the important points whatever they have read. But some of the people, they get confused, they get perplexed, they're just doubtful about that one. They say that they have read number of pages in that book, but when you ask a question that what do you understand from that book, so they fail to give the answer. When a question is put to them, what is the reason? Because they are not practicing this kind of study. They are not practicing. And I just say to that one, this is going to focus your study skill. How best you are going to improve your study skill. And what is the need of improving study skill in the present scenario? So this is a scenario of competition. This is scenario of employment. This is a scenario where every student and every member, every unemployed is struggling a lot to find a place in any organization. In that way, so you have to read a lot of books. Maybe in in the past, maybe some 20, 30, 40 years ago, so securing a job, it was rather bit easy when comparing to today, because the unemployed are more in number and the jobs are limited. Jobs are limited, number is very high. Cutthroat competition is being taken place in the society for a few jobs. That's why any organization, the government or any other thing, maybe corporate, maybe private, maybe any type of sector is trying to test the students, how best he or she possesses the qualities. So in the process of elimination, in the process of finding the eligible candidate for the organization, and this is also one important thing. So what is this that we are going to study? Let's have a look about this one. So making notes or note making, both are synonymous. So making notes or note making, one and the same. What do you understand by note making? What do you understand by making notes? Is it necessary for us to learn to improve our skill? I just say that one, this is a study skill. When you read a book, so how best you understand that book. That's very important. It's not the matter how many books are completed by you, but how much of the matter that you understood, how much of the matter that you comprehended. So that is very important, that then completing the number. Don't be carried away by the number. So you try to think how much of matter that you understood. That's very, very important for every reader. So making notes and note making, it occupies an important place in the present employment scenario. That's the reason in the modern studies, especially in the subject like English, this has been included by the learned scholars who frame the curriculum and so syllabus for all the UG and PG courses, especially I'm talking about the English branch. Why they are including this topic in the curriculum of English? The very thing, so it is needed. You have to read a lot of books. You have to equip yourself. You have to equip yourself to face any kind of challenge in the employment scenario. And that's the reason. So this is also one component that everyone is supposed to understand. Everyone is supposed to master this one. So let us study today in this video class. So what is meant by note making? What is meant by making note? And what is it called? How can you create effective note making? So what are the skills are needed for that one to make effective note making? Are there any guidelines for making notes? And what is the importance of that one? How do these notes are going to be helpful to you? So everything that we are going to talk in a very detailed manner. So I just invite all my young friends, young men and women, pursuing PG and UG courses. So let us study this one in detailed manner. Making notes. So in the introduction part, let us try it. Making notes is one of the most useful study skills. We have writing skills, we have speaking skills, we have spoken skills, we have communicative skills. So communicative skills includes writing skills and speaking skills. We have listening skills, we have study skills too. Study skills. How do you understand? How do you read? How do you take the notes? How do you preserve? How do you differentiate between important and unimportant? How do you classify which point is important, which point is not important? So when you have the practice of knowing, practice of reading, practice of making notes, then you could easily understand, you can easily perform that activity of study skills. That's why it is one of the most useful study skill that everyone has to understand. Making notes, so it's helpful to organize thoughts better. So when you read, suppose what is called note making. And note making is nothing but writing the most important points from the book that you have read. Writing notes is nothing but picking or just selecting the most important points, most important, prominent, phrases, sentences and points, and you just create in a skeleton manner. You write, suppose you read an essay, you jot down some important points on a page. The essay might have been in 30 pages, but after reading 30 pages of essay, so the content or the summary or the important point that you just jot down on single piece of paper. That's all. When you read that notes, and you could easily understand. You could easily think about what you have read. So that's very important. So making notes helpful to organize thoughts better. You try to develop your study skill. How to organize the thoughts, how to organize the points here. Which points are to be kept first, which points are to be kept later. So That is the way that you can develop this one. Making notes is helpful to consider importance of different points. It's really helpful to consider the importance of different points. When you read a book, when you read thesis, when you read an essay in a magazine, when you read an editorial in a newspaper, you try to consider which point is a different point. Suppose there are 2 or 3 books written on single topic, especially it happens so in social sciences or maybe so in sciences also. On single topic, you find hundreds of books. When you read 4 to 5 books on single topic, you try to consider which point is new one, which point is not covered by the some other author in some other book. And by reading 10 books, you just jot down, write down the notes, and the process of reading, understanding, and jotting down important points on a piece of paper or maybe in a notebook is called so note making. The process of reading, comprehending, jotting down important so points in any notebook or maybe on a piece of paper is called so note making. It's very important. When you read a paragraph, when you read a page, you understand with that perspective of mind. When you read, you don't read just for sake of time pass. When you take your pen and a piece of paper, when you take a notebook, when you are jotting down important points, you will be very alert. You try to understand which is important, which is not important, which is sometimes, so 2 or 3 pages, there's only elaboration. Maybe one statement might be given in the first pages, second, third, fourth pages, all the matter. So the entire matter that supports the first statement only. It's not necessary to take down that entire matter as important one. The first component is very important. You just write down, and so write down for your sake only. So making notes, you prepare for yourself. Don't compare your notes to somebody else. So when you read a book, when you read an essay, you only prepare notes for your convenience. And when you read that one, when you read the notes, you understand and you revise the entire matter that you have read some days ago, some months ago, some maybe a year ago. That is the benefit of this note making. So note making is very, very helpful to consider importance of different points. Making notes helpful to understand matter thoroughly. So making notes or note making, so it helps you. It is helpful to understand the matter thoroughly. When you are given freedom to segregate which is important, which is not important, when you are given a job of segregating the important and unimportant points, and you read in between the lines, you read once, twice, thrice, until you understand it thoroughly. So it allows you to understand the matter thoroughly, and you develop that critical way of thinking, critical way of comprehending, critical way of understanding the matter that is printed, that is written by somebody else, and you try to elucidate, you try to segregate the important points and the unimportant points, and that is called thorough understanding of anything. That's called thorough understanding of that one. Making notes, what I could say that one. Making notes helpful to draw conclusions. Suppose you read a book on demand, you read a book on supply, you read a book on democracy. Suppose you are reading Indian Constitution. Suppose you read the book written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So that is the thing. Annihilation of caste. Very, very emphatic book, Annihilation of Caste. When you read a novel, Pride and Prejudice, written by Jane Austen, when you read a poem written by Charlotte Bronte, when you read a poem written by P.B. Shelley, when you read So a short story written by Rabindranath Tagore. When you read an essay written by Aldous Huxley, when you read so a biographical essay written by J.K. Rowling, so when you read variety of books, variety of genres, so you understand, you so draw conclusions. You become the monarch of that one. You become the leader of that one. You become so the creator of that one. You are given so unlimited freedom to understand, to analyze, to jot down which is important, which is not important. That power is gained by any individual only when he or she so develop that study skill of note making. People just laugh at that. Oh, there is nothing at all. You don't find any difficulty in that one. It's just a thing. It's not a difficult job. People say like that. No. It's not as easy as you think of. You have to cultivate the habit of reading, so you try to develop comprehending capacity, understanding capacity, analyzing capacity, and you analyze critically which point is important, which point is not important, so that you understand about it. So let us see. This is all about the introduction for this note making or making notes. So let us move on to the next phase of this note making. So to be successful in making effective notes, what kind of skills are needed? Suppose you want to be an expert in making notes. You want to be an expert in making notes. You want to write. You want to present very good note making of any essay, of any book. Are there any principles? Are there any skills that are to be needed? How can one become a great note maker? How can one become a great person in making notes? Are there any? How can a person be successful in making effective notes? Are there any points? Yeah, there are some skills are there. There are some specific skills are there which are needed to make very, very effective note making. What are they? Ability to read attentively. Remember this one. First and foremost quality to create effective note making for everyone, he or she must have ability to read attentively. A person who doesn't have that quality of reading attentively, and he or she cannot create any effective note making. The fundamental quality, the basic quality that every individual has to develop, that whether he or she is able to read it attentively, whether he or she is ready to focus thorough attention on that one with a lot of concentration. Whether you possess that quality or not, you question to yourself. Whenever you are given a job of creating wonderful effective note making, then you have to think about yourself whether you possess that study skill or not, whether you have that excellent skill of reading attentively or not. There only you understand that whether you have that quality or not. When you possess that quality, you can just proceed with that work of note making. Otherwise, I think it requires a lot of hard work also. You have to practice, then maybe after some time you also gain that power of reading attentively. That's the ability. One must have the ability to read attentively. Till then, we cannot just do justice. We cannot make effective note making. That's the thing that I just said to you. What is the next quality? What kind of skill that one needs to make effective note making? Ability to comprehend what is read. You see this one? One must have the ability to read attentively. The second quality is the ability to comprehend what is read. Very, very important things. Some people read in between lines. Some people read line by line. Some people read word by word. Some people read books after books. You think about Swami Vivekananda. He was such a kind of person, a remarkable person. He went on reading books after books. He went on reading books after books. How did he gain that extraordinary power? Because right from his childhood, he was allowed to read whatever the books that he wished to read. So he had developed that interest to read books. By reading books in the very initial stage, perhaps one cannot understand the deeper meaning of the matter. As the days go on, as the years go on, one will try to understand what is there in that matter. After some more time, one will try to comprehend. After some more time, one will try to understand critically. Is it right or not? Suppose a scientist says that the earth is flat. Maybe when you are a child, you just agree to his statement. Maybe earth is flat. When you are a child, you may agree to his statement. But when you grow up, when you develop the quality of reading in between lines, when you grow up, when you are a young man, so you develop that analytical power, you question that fact. You may think, how is this? The world is not, the earth is not flat, the earth is round. You question that one. You question the fact that earth is flat. Now you begin to say that earth is not flat, earth is round, and you also develop that. How do you gain this power? So one must have the ability to read attentively. One must have ability to comprehend what is read. Try to analyze what you have read. Try to think what you have read. Try to remember what you have read. Try to analyze what you have read. Try to segregate which is important, which is not important. This is called ability. How can one create effective note making? Because it comes by experience, it comes by interest, it comes by practice. Practice makes perfect. If you want to become a good, effective note maker, if you keep on doing this kind of exercises, maybe after some time, you become marvelous, so effective note maker. It comes like that only. You develop that skill. Reading is a skill. It is not a talent. It is not a born talent. The way how you read, if you go on reading, what happens, you become perfect in reading and you begin to read so attentively. After reading that one must automatically gain so the ability to comprehend what is read. For all years, you can't just read and forget. But you at particular time, so you may question to yourself, yes, I have been reading, but what I have been reading? What is the matter in this one? Do I understand this one? Do I understand? Is it necessary to me? But why have been reading this one? So this kind of idea that may strike your mind and you read, you comprehend what is read. The third one is ability to distinguish. Ability to distinguish between important and unimportant ideas. Dear friends, you need to have the ability to distinguish between important and unimportant points. So these three qualities that one must possess. You question to yourself before making note making, before attempting the question called note making, whether you have the ability to read attentively, whether you have the ability to comprehend what is read, whether you have ability to distinguish between important and unimportant ideas. These three are very important. That's why they are the necessary skills for effective note making. They are necessary skills. Unless until you possess this one, so you cannot create, you cannot make out effective note making. Ability to read attentively, ability to comprehend what is read, ability to So distinguish which is important and which is not important. So these are the three necessary skills for effective note making. Let us see. Yeah. What are the salient features of effective note making? What are the salient features of effective note making? Which note making is said to be a good, effective note making? So, what kind of the characteristic, so qualities the effective note making should have? Yes, this is a note making. What are the salient features of effective note making? That one has to know. Well, before you read, you have to test yourself whether you possess three qualities: ability to read attentively, ability to comprehend so what is read, ability to distinguish which is good, which is important, which is unimportant. So they are the skills required for effective note making. And what are the salient features of effective note making? Suppose there is one effective note making. What kind of the qualities that you see in that one? Usually written in the form of points. The effective note making should be written not in paragraph manner. It should not be written in paragraph way, in passages way, or maybe in the form of a poetry, in the form of short story. It will be written in the form of points. Point. So one title, subtitle, like that. Points must be there. So the moment you look at that point, you understand, yes. So now I get that idea. I get that idea. So the moment you look at that title and subtitle or important points, so the entire thing that comes to your mind, whatever you have read some days ago. That's very important about this note making. So the salient features that I'm talking about effective note making, usually written in the form of points. Generally, note making, so it will be written so in the form of points only. May also be written in the form of tables. So there is a very wrong notion. Some people who have not read widely about this note making, they always think about only, so note making means writing, jotting down or noting down, or maybe writing down very important points with all headings, subheadings, titles and subtitles, or phrases like that. Some people, they have this kind of idea. So since they haven't read very widely about this note making, so they haven't read very deeply about this wide ranges. Instead of writing, what happens sometimes, instead of writing the point, so there are alternative methods are also there. Instead of presenting so in the form of points, sometimes so the information may be presented through tables, through charts, through diagrams. Many types of diagrams are there. Tables are there, bar diagrams are there, so tree diagrams are there, so like that. So mind maps are there, frame style, framework style, so models are there, many type, so diagrams, tables and charts are there. So to present the information that you have read, to present the gist of that textbook, to present the gist of that essay, to present the gist of that novel, you can choose any method, but that should be very easy. That should be easy method for the people who to understand that one. And it should be very easy for you. So when you look at the table and you have to recall what you have read, so what you have understood about the topic some days ago, like that, there won't be any false notion like that. So effective note making may be written in the form of points, but sometimes it may be presented so in the form of table, charts, diagrams also. This is also that one has to know. List all that is necessary. Don't leave any important point. These are the salient features of effective note making. Don't leave any important point. You have to list all that is necessary. All that is necessary. You have to write. Either you can choose So point-wise method, or you can choose table method, or you can choose diagram method, or you can choose chart method. So, but no important point should be missed. That's very, very important that everyone has to understand. So these are the salient features of an effective note making. We'll move on to the next. What are the guidelines on making notes? Guidelines on making notes. So while making notes, the following guidelines are to be followed for effective note making. The guidelines are. So here I'm going to talk to you about the guidelines. So these are the points that we have to keep in our mind before attempting a question on note making, before jotting down important points, before drawing any table, diagram, or just transforming the entire information into any tree diagram, or maybe any mind map, maybe any freestyle one, or maybe bar diagram. So like that, any table, we have to keep all the guidelines. These are the points that are to be kept in the mind to create effective writing, to make yourself the best. So note making writer, you have to keep all these, you have to follow all these guidelines only. So these are the guidelines to make you so successful note making writer. What are the things? So how do we do this one? What is the process involved in this? What kind of process that is involved in note making? How can we start it? How can we start it? Take down main or important points. This is a very, very important one. Take down main or important points. First of all, take down main or important points. While taking the important points, and there are also most important points and less important points. What is the title of this essay? Which title is going to be suited for that one? Which is the subtitle? So take down the main or important points. So whenever you are going to attempt a question on making notes, you have to read the essay or a paragraph or any book, you have to think which title is going to be suitable for this one. Which is the main title that you want to give to this entire note making. And what are the subtitles? So what are the important points? What are the most important points? So important points may be written in the form of subtitles. So sub important points, and main important points may be written like 1, 2. So less important points may be written like A, B, C. So you try to follow any method. Any method I could say like that. Take down main or important points. Use clear layout. Subheadings, bullets. Try to make out a clear layout like that. Title. Title. So title is over and you start with Roman. So 1 subtitle and maybe some mini points under that subtitle. A, B, C. Again, second point. Under second point, you write A, B, C. Again, third point, you write A, B, C. Again, fourth point, you write A, B, C, D, and that's all. So you have the title, you have the main points, you have the subtitles. But don't write fully sentences. While you are drawing out, while you are jotting down the important points, you try to choose the phrases, the important words. They are very important. Don't try to write the full sentences, and it's not going to be another essay. That I could say to you. Take down main or important points. Use clear layout, subheadings, bullets. You have to, you make use of subheadings, subtitles, or subheadings, or bullets also. Organize notes. Reflect to the main idea. Whatever the point that you have chosen as important point, that point is going to choose to the main idea. Whatever the point that you have selected, that has to strike the main topic. So when you select one point, if it's not needed to the main point, if it's not striking the main point, what is the importance of talking about that one? Suppose when the title is called Women Empowerment, whatever the points that are selected by you, all those points should reflect the women empowerment. If any point is selected that about men's empowerment or men's abilities, I think it's not needed, and it's not going to be a good, effective note making. So write down important points. So organized notes reflect to the main idea. Write down important points. They are very important. So write down important points. Identify in short forms. So write down important points. Identify in short forms. Don't write lengthy sentences. So in a paragraph, series of sentences are written. When you create note making, when you jot down note making, when you prepare note making, so it should be like point wise, 1, 2, 3, like that, or maybe 1 A B C, or 2 A B C, 3 A B C, like that. All small. It they should give an appearance that they are the titles. They are the important phrases. They are the important words that would reflect the main idea. So using words, phrases, abbreviations, underline important words. So you select very, very catchy words. You select very meaningful words in that paragraph. Don't select unimportant words. Don't select a word called preposition, articles, pronouns. Don't select all those things. They are not needed at all, because you have to understand the meaning is implied. There is no need to select these prepositions, pronouns, or maybe some articles like that. So conjunctions, it's implied. There is no need to select as the important points also. So write down important points, identify in short forms, use words, phrases, abbreviations, underline important words. I just said that. Whichever word is very important, you underline that one. If the point is very, very important, you underline it. Use common symbols. Use common symbols, standard abbreviations. For example, EX example. And don't write A and D. You just give a symbol. And etc. Don't write etc. You etc is enough. That is I full stop E. That's important. IMP is that's enough. Especially you want to write. Don't write especially fully. You write ESP. That's enough. Suppose you want to say that versus humans versus monsters. So men versus women. No need to write versus. You just write VS. You try to use very, very modified, understood symbols, abbreviations while you are writing that note making. So drop all articles. Drop all your articles, prepositions, conjunctions, pronouns. Whenever you take anything, you drop all the articles, prepositions, conjunction, and pronouns. That's always good. So I just say to you, my dear friends, so while reading any paragraph, while reading an essay, while reading the entire book, first of all, you have to select the title of that one. Title. So that is the most important. That is the bottom line sentence that I can say to you. Then you select all the important sentences. After selecting all important sentences, you try to organize them. Which comes first, which comes second, which comes third, which comes fourth, and which comes last. You organize that one. And organize like that. So number 1 point, subtitles A, B, C. Again, so number 2 point. So main important point. So subtitles A, B, C. So you try to follow that kind of method. And that is going to be very, very effective. So note making or effective making notes. Now, you have done everything. You have done everything. You are going to present that note making. And before presenting that note making in the examination, or before presenting that effective note making, you have to check. This is called checking. So before presenting, what you have selected, what you have understood, what you have comprehended, what you have felt, these points are important, these points are unimportant, and what is the procedure that is applied, whether you have selected to submit your information, to change that entire information through any table form, through any diagram form, through any chart form. So you have to create that one. You have to check. You may be thorough in your understanding, but while transforming the information, while just selecting the important point, so here and there, I think you may be intelligent, but some important points might have been left over. So before that one, before presenting finally, before writing finally, so this is called checkpoint must be there. Check, you have to check what is to be checked. No idea should be missed. No important idea should be missed. Remember this one. So in effective note making, no important idea should be missed. And checkpoints, you have to see whether the spellings are correct or not. Sometimes, it makes a lot of difference. You have to see, nothing happens. No, don't say like that. You are creating effective note making about the entire book. Some people who are very hurry, so no, they don't read the entire book. They read the only notes. So while reading notes, if the spelling mistakes are there, they don't understand properly. So check the spellings. Check whether procedure is followed or not. You have to check whether that procedure is followed by you or not. So have you followed that procedure? Just like topic, let's call title of that one, the main title, important center, important points, very, very important, most important points. Again, sub important points, like that. Whether you have followed that procedure or not, that you have to check. Check the title. Whatever the title that is selected by you, is it suitable to that essay? Is it suitable to that book? Is it right for that book or not? That you have to understand. So the life without limbs. You see, I want to say Nick Vujicic, the Australian, so motivational speaker, personality development trainer, a very, very popular man. A man, so a person who was born without arms and legs. He was born without arms and legs, but today he grew up and now he is the motivational. So top level motivational speaker, so first class personality development trainer, and is very, very so popular personality development trainer so in the entire world. He has started one organization, Life Without Limbs, non-profitable organization, Life Without Limbs. You see the title of that organization. If anyone so reads that title, Life Without Limbs, how is it possible? So when you select any title for any note making, so you have to write the title in such a way whether it is suitable to the topic or not. That is very, very important. Later on, you have to check subtitle also. You have to check subtitle, whether subtitles are correct or not. And you have to check important points also. You have to check important points. So all are the important points covered by you or not, and check whether chronological order followed or not. You have to check whether that systematic order is followed or not, whether the chronological order followed or not. And this is all about this one, it's a note making. Let us see, for your convenience, my dear friends, I'm going to present to you one sample note making. My dear young friends, men and women, so try to understand. Here is a paragraph. So a paragraph or a passage is given for you. And by reading this passage, how do you make out an effective note making? So for your convenience, I just read this passage for you. There are different forms of environmental pollution. Air pollution is caused by the burning of coal and oil. It can damage the earth's vegetation and cause respiratory problems in humans. A second type of pollution is noise pollution. It is a result of noise of aircraft and heavy traffic. Further, loud music is also a cause of noise pollution, which has been seen to affect people's hearing and give them severe headaches and high blood pressure. Another source of pollution is radioactivity. It is a deadly pollutant which kills and causes irreparable harm to those exposed to it. Land and water pollution is caused by the careless disposal of huge quantities of rubbish, sewage, and chemical waste. Pollution of rivers and seas kills fish and other marine life and also becomes the cause of waterborne diseases, waterborne diseases. Land pollution, on the other hand, poisons the soil, making the food grown in it unfit for consumption. A passage is given, and with all the principles that we have learned, so by understanding the study skills which are required for effective note making, by understanding the guidelines how to make effective note making, what are the salient features that one has to follow so before attempting note making, and by thorough understanding of the passage, so we have to do this one, and this sample note making is given for your understanding. Here is the passage given from UG first year English textbook, and let's see how is it is done. You see this one, the title, the important title is said like this: environmental pollution. Environmental pollution. The entire passage is saying about the pollution. The entire passage is saying about the environmental pollution. So how is environmental pollution caused? What are the ways of pollutions? What are the ways of pollutions? So here, this is called framework style. This is one method of presenting. So this note making. You see, it's very, very traditional, conventional method of presenting the information. So in the form of note making. So environmental pollution, air pollution. You see this one? So air is subtitle. Very, very important. So environmental pollution is the topic. Bottom line sentence. That's very, very important sentence that is being chosen as the title of that entire note making. The first point here, air. Whatever pollutions are there, air pollution is there, noise pollution is there, radioactivity pollution is there, land pollution is there, water pollution is there. Like that. So it has been, pollution has been divided into 4 or 5. First, air pollution. What are the causes? So burning of coal and oil. What is the effect? Damage of vegetation, respiratory problems in humans. Next, noise pollution. What is the cause for noise pollution? Noise of aircraft, traffic, loud noise. And what is the effect? Affects hearing, causes so bad headaches and high BP. Radioactivity causes leak so from nuclear power stations and causes injury, and it also kills. The effects. Land and water pollution. What are the causes? So this is called disposal. So unnecessary disposal of rubbish, sewage, chemical wastages, careless disposal. The people in the society, they dispose carelessly. So for that, land, so pollution and water pollution. Affect water pollution, so kills marine life, causes waterborne diseases. Land pollution, poison the soil and makes food grown, so inedibles. You see, this is the way. This is a very conventional, and this model is called framework style model. The passage is given based on the passage to read that one and understand that one and present that one in the form of note making. This is the way how it can be presented. And there is another method for your convenience also. This is called, the same information is presented with tree diagram style. You can present either the way. One person chooses that way, the other person chooses this way. But the matter is same. The information that is presented, whether you select that freestyle method, a framework method, the information is same. When you select this tree diagram also, it's the same. When you take map, mind map also, the information is same. You see this one: environmental pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, radioactivity, land and water. Here also the same thing. Here also the causes. Here also the effects. Causes are mentioned, effects are mentioned, but the presentation is through tree diagram. You try to understand this one. It is through tree diagram. Next one. The same information is presented through mind map style model. Through mind map, it's very, very clear, environmental pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, radioactive pollution, and land and water pollution. Again, some circles are given. In the circles, causes are there, another circle, effects are there. So the same information of one passage that can be transformed, that can be changed into different ways. Conventional method is there, that's a framework model method is there. Tree diagram is there, so you can select a tree diagram, or any table diagram if it is suitable. You can also take the table diagram also, depending on the information that you happen to see, that you happen to read in the passage or in NC. So you have to select which diagram is going to be suitable for this information. For certain information, so tree diagram is suitable. For certain information, only bar diagram is suitable. For certain information, so maybe bar diagram is suitable. Like, for certain thing, charts are useful. So depending on the subject given in that paragraph or essay, that you have to select this one. This is all about this one, and we are coming to this conclusion. You may ask me, what is the benefit of knowing? What is the benefit of knowing this note making? In what way this note making is going to be useful to us? I just say, my dear young men, women, note making is useful in higher education. In higher education, every student is supposed to read enormously. You have to read vastly. You have to read number of books on single topic. So you cannot read all the books at a time. You cannot remember the entire information given in the book only. That's why read a book and write down the important points from that book. Read second book and write down the important points in that book. Read some n number of books and write down important notes in that one. And like that, you can create essay. You can prepare very well. Note making is highly useful in the preparation of competitive examinations. For your kind information, I would like to say to all the members, it is very, very useful. So for those candidates who are preparing for the competitive examinations, because you happen to read a lot of books on single topic only. You have to read voraciously. And you can't remember all those things. How can you remember? Are you God? No, not like that. You are a human being. So read anything. So jot down important points on a sheet of paper, and that's all. Read it, understand it, and prepare notes, and you just remember that one. And during the times of examination, you can just read all the notes and just feel that revision is completed. Note making is useful for revision. During examination, you cannot take all the 100 books that you have read. You cannot keep a heap of books before you and read all those books at a time. So if you prepare notes about all those books, so you just refer only notes that are prepared by you, and you can revise it number of times, and you can develop self-confidence on yourself. So note making is useful for vast coverage of books. You can cover a lot of books only. Note making is easy to remember points. You can remember all the points. You don't miss any point at all, because you find so enough time to revise the matter that you have read, because you have already prepared your notes, and that's very important. Note making improves better comprehension ability. The best quality that you develop better comprehension ability. You develop the quality of understanding. The moment you read any essay, the very first instance you understand, because you have the experience of preparing notes. That experience makes you excellent person. That excellence makes you, propels you to become perfect in the society. So I wish each and every one of you to be a perfect person and to lead our country towards progress and to make our world livable, and live and let live. That is the philosophy. Let us make this world as a knowledgeable world, so away from caste, community, religion, and narrow barriers. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope everyone has understood. Thank you, and all.